All right. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us, Elaine Culotti. We're very excited here about your show, Undercover Billionaire. 1851 really celebrates people in the entrepreneurship space, and it seems like you've been on quite a journey. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and the show?
Well, first of all, I'm a huge fan. So thank you for having me.
Thank
Um,
you.
Not just for 1851, but also for Estate Envy. I think it's important that there's forums for young entrepreneurs to listen to old entrepreneurs. It's
Thank
helpful.
you. That's what we think.
Yeah. So Undercover Billionaire, it comes out on January the 6th. It's on Discovery Network. And if you swipe down, I think you can get onto the new Discovery Plus platform.
Hmm.
Um, it's a really incredible season in that they put three people together on a show, but none of us knew about one another, and we were
Oh,
all
wow.
the same thing that everybody had to deal with during 2020, and that was how to pivot. What do you do? What do you do when everything's closed? What do you do when you don't have any resources? And I'm here to tell you there's a lot of things that you can do, especially if you're entrepreneurial minded. Um, the first thing I want to say about 2020 is not what a lot of people are saying. It's not good riddance to it at all. I think we had a really wonderful opportunity to bond with our families, to recreate ourselves, to look outside of our material world that we live in and start thinking about some of our if you will, more esoteric values, our essential uh, bank account, our essential, really important value that we have. It's not always about how much money you have in your account. It's about how resourceful you are, and the show is about how resourceful you are.
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to look at it. So, on the show, you are challenged with creating a business in 90 days that has to pass the $1 million mark in revenue, or you yourself have to pay up. So, with everything going on right now, you already touched on a lot of it. But with COVID, with the economic downturn that's associated with that, you had to go it your own, and you've had a lot of success in business. But it's always different to start fresh. And I know that you have entrepreneurship in your family. So, what was it like being an entrepreneur now in 2020 with all these challenges? And what did you learn?
One of the most important things to recognize in an environment like we have right now is no one is doing anything. So don't be afraid to call the guy that was in charge, or the biggest band member, or the busiest actor, or the largest bank. Don't be afraid to go to the very top, because no one is doing anything, and you have just as much of a right as anybody that's had a lot of experience to go to the very top and ask for help. I think it's critical as an entrepreneur to sometimes climb to the very top of the ladder, no matter what, to ask for help. um, we don't think of that when we're on the ground and when we don't have any resources. But in COVID, we were closed. The world was closed down, and a lot of people were sitting at home, including the mayor, and including all the big rock stars, and including all the big actors, and everybody was at home, and everybody was wondering what they're going to do. And that was a big opportunity for us to really reach out to the top and blend the top with the bottom. We're starting out in my town. We were starting out, and I have the greatest group of people that I put together. They have such heart, and they're so hardworking. I mean, talk about American pride. They just did not quit. And we went to the very top. We were at the mayor's office day one, chief
Wow.
day one, fire department day one, city council day one. Who's going to help us dig out of this right now? And believe it or not, they all said yes. Nobody said no.
You know what? I actually do believe it. At 1851, we write a lot about entrepreneurship. And I think that what gets lost in a lot of, the striving and hustling that people post about online is that you're starting a business, you're taking a risk, but it's never just about the individual. It's always about the types of teams they can bring together and the people that help them out along the way. So in 1851, we specifically write a lot about franchising because in the US, it's really emerged as a great way for entrepreneurs to take on a watered down amount of risk, to see the ropes, to get a taste of running their own business. And I wanted to ask you, in your experience, what was that like? What kind of support did you find? And can you, see now how coming up that having a franchise or the processes in place, what that added to your journey?
I'm a big believer that you are going to go a lot further and be a lot bigger and a lot stronger if you are supported by a larger group. And franchising is by definition exactly that. You've got a professional outfit that's allowing you all of your independence by supporting you. It's not always easy, it's not always inexpensive either, but each franchise that's out there has built the concept of selling something, and you guys have a common interest, right? So common goals are the key to success. So if you're successful, they're successful. Add to the fact that you have a larger support team and a common goal, it starts to be a recipe for success. That's why franchising works.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. So, without giving too much away about the show and how everything went for you, I have to ask, you don't have to spoil the show or anything, but was there one takeaway or some surprise or something that stood out to you in your journey?
Well, I think that what I definitely gleaned from my experience in Fresno was that we have a very important job to do here in California as it relates to our farming community. And I want every single person on the planet to eat fresh food. I if we just did that one thing, we would all be healthier, and we would also be able to create some sort of an independence at our own homes, because there's so many types of hydroponic gardens and ways to grow. There's also so many growers and farmers. There's 76,000 small farmers in California alone, to give you an idea of how many
Wow.
there are. And their biggest problem, small farming, is distribution. It's basically supply chain. And what I would love to see happen, solely based on my experience over the summer, is that we all, as individuals, reach out to small farming and start to eat better and teach our kids to eat better. We have, a lot to talk about as it relates to COVID and homelessness and things like that. And one of the common denominators is health. And because I've been in real estate development and in a big life for the last 20 years, I've been blessed with eating well without having to think about it. And that's a completely strange, reality. I eat great. I do farm to table. I have wonderful fresh vegetables. Somebody cooks for me. Life is great. I don't think about it. But boy, a lot of people don't have that, and they need it. And it's not expensive. It's just about getting it there. And I would really love, out of all of the things that come out of 2020, is this staying at home and cooking for ourselves and taking care of ourselves and going to farm to table restaurants and creating food that's healthy sticks. It needs to stick. We need to really work on eating better so that we have better health.
Absolutely. And that actually kind of dovetails nicely into what else I wanted to talk to you about. You've had a really interesting career in real estate. You have a beautiful home I can see behind you. So I'm dying to ask you about your experiences in real estate, specifically the market we're seeing today. I don't know how in depth you went with, specifically real estate, but I know that this touches on a lot of land issues are important in California. It's our biggest agricultural state. So for the estate envy side of things, what is your take on the high-end real estate market right now? I know you did the House of Rock and a lot of beautiful things I've seen, and second home markets. They're having a really strong 2020. would you say the market is overheated, or is this something you'd still get into as a buyer?
Well, I have a lot to say.
I'm sure.
The most important thing to remember is that luxury homes and expensive, unaffordable, outrageous lifestyle is categorically always inflated. Like by definition.
Right.
So we can't, be upset when it comes down, a little bit. We have to be, we're all living on the inflated, side of arguing over, thousands of dollars for, a lamp. It's insanity. So
Right.
let's not pretend that it's not inflated. What I do know about the real estate market next year, mark my words, I'll put it in blood, is that people appreciate their domicile more than ever as a result of this pandemic. And because of that, your home is imminently that much more important. It's your safe zone. It's the place where you can relax. It's the place where you don't wear a mask. It's the place where you can decompress. And if you are a big business person running a company, going into your office and being on a Zoom call all day does not make for relaxation. It doesn't. It's important that we recognize how important the home is about to become. Oh, my dogs are going crazy. And you don't have your dogs in your office. If you think about the fact that, should I stop them?
It's okay. Actually, how many German Shepherd puppies do you have? I really want to know.
Well, I lie about that. I'm not completely transparent about my dog problem.
Okay, well you've got
They're two. Oh my gosh, he's so beautiful. Is that a Rhodesian?
Thanks. It is. It's our Ridgeback.
Oh, they're amazing animals. Boy, are they great swimmers. Wow.
I don't know about her, but all right. I'm sorry to have interrupted you there. You were saying about the luxury market's inflated right now.
It's always inflated.
Right. Yeah, it's always inflated.
By definition, it's inflated, and that's okay. I mean, there are really nice diamonds, and there are not very good diamonds. It's okay. It's your choice what you want to wear. There's, a really expensive, overpriced cars, and they're flashy. But if that's the car you like and it makes you happy, drive it. There's nothing wrong. My dad used to say the craziest thing. He used to say, "There's a seat for every ass." I believe it. And if somebody wants to buy a luxury home that has, I don't know, suede handrails, they're going to pay for it. And that's okay. And I support them. And I support people who spend their money on their domicile. Usually people that spend a lot of money on beautiful living environments also spend a lot of money on their environment. And that includes, things that are important to them. It's not just about, their wealth and their home. It's about their existential wealth. They spend money on things that are their meaning of life, whether it's a charity or whether it's growing a business or whether it's employing a lot of people. We have to start embracing capitalism a little bit. It's not a dirty word. And if the high-end real estate market stays high-end, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. What's important, more important than that, is that we make affordable housing for everybody. That's
Absolutely.
It's more important that the foundation, the entry level of homes is solid, that it's made out of cement. It's not made out of straw. Always think of the three pigs, right? You
Right.
want a house that's made out of bricks. And you have to make sure that that's available to everybody. And we need to, in 2021, sit down with all legislation and find a way that people can buy a home, because that's what creates true existential wealth. It creates security. It creates happiness. If people feel safe, they feel happy. And we have to make that happen. And hopefully, with all of the money that we are spending on our America's pride, all of our people, keeping them home and keeping them safe, and all of these initiatives and all of these bills, we really work on a way for banking to help first-time buyers buy homes at a reasonable price, at a reasonable interest rate, with very good lending rules, and let people get started. That's what we've got to do. We've got to let them get started.
That's great. That actually relates to another thing I wanted to ask you about, because one small upside to this housing market is a lot of people have seen their equity increase. They realize now that they're sitting on a home that's worth quite a bit. And I'd love to get your expertise on, if somebody is looking to sell in 2021, do you have tips about getting the house ready to put on the market, or how to position the home? Any tips for sellers looking to get out of their home now?
Um, Gosh, you're probably not going to like this. I would keep it. I would keep my home. I would keep my home. But if you want a seller, you have to sell. You want to depersonalize it, because it's going to be likable for more people if you depersonalize it. I know that sounds cliche, but it's true, because people sometimes aren't as creative as you are with your design, and certainly me. I have, I love things and clutter and stuff, and so when you go to sell something, you need to depersonalize it. But I by nature always tell everyone, if you've got a piece of real estate and you own it, keep it. That's all. Getting it is not as hard as keeping it. Keep it, because it will only
Right.
go. It will only go up, and the more that's on the market, the more the market gets flooded, the worse the market becomes. So that never helps. And wait, because it's very likely that we're going to have an inflation issue. And if we do, and we have any kind of devaluation of the dollar, then your money's in real estate. So you keep your real estate. Everybody just needs to calm down. That's what needs to happen. Everybody just needs to take a minute, breathe, and calm down. If
Right.
jumps on the let's get rid of our real estate, people are leaving California, this, that, and the other. No one's going anywhere. Hollywood is here. Farming is here. We have the most beautiful coast in the country. California is never going to be anything less than, period. I don't care what anybody's doing to it. It is a fantastic place to live. It's an amazing place to live. It's so beautiful, and there's so many things. Like, if you're worried, take a day. Breathe. Think before you act.
That's great advice. So from there, are there any mistakes that you see investors or developers try to make? Because the market's hot right now. A lot of people are trying to jump in. A lot of people have cash on hand. They're trying to start a new venture during COVID. Are there some entry-level mistakes you would warn somebody against making?
I mean, I think that when you go to buy something, if you're a developer, right, you want to be surrounded by people who really know what the entitlement process is. Development is a lot about the entitlement process. That's where I've spent probably the last 7 years. It takes a lot of time, and you have to have the staying power to get through the permitting process of new projects. So make sure you have the staying power and the time in a bank that's cooperative, or a partner that's cooperative, however you do it.
Sure.
That's important. The other thing is, there's absolutely no reason to not do due diligence. And that's not saying that I'm listening to naysayers. I definitely do what I want to do and make my own decision. But I do my share of due diligence. And if you feel like there's something that's a big, huge hurdle, or you can't get around it, make sure you vet it completely. And also make sure that if it's been turned away many, many times, why? People don't have to tell you everything. And we make the mistake about disclosures and things like that. But, this is a big boy game, and you got to put your big girl panties on if you want to do it. You got to do your own homework.
Right. I think that's really sound advice for a lot of people. So, finally, I couldn't let you go without asking you about interior design. So, just what are the top trends you've seen emerge with COVID? Because we talked about how the home has just become all important. Everyone's home crazy right now. And then the flip side of that is, what are some home decor trends you would like to see disappear in 2021? Do you think the Zoom rooms are here to stay, or just what's your take on all the dynamic movement in interior design right now?
Well, Well, I'd like to definitely see some version of, if you could, right, find a way to go into a room in your home or in your office or anywhere that did an ionic disinfectant, which is lighting disinfectant, to just make sure that you're not sick or carrying something into the house. I do like the whole technology that's surrounding that. It's not new technology. People used to see
Wow.
phones in those boxes, and it's also not expensive. So light, light cleaning is what it has been used in hospitals for years. It's just something that, throw all the instruments in there and they zap them with the light. I think that that is something we should consider to do for many things, like food, utensils. It's not that expensive, and I think it would be easy to create. And I hope some great entrepreneur comes up with an easy solution for it. The other thing is, Zoom rooms are here to stay for a lot of reasons. First of all, it's very convenient. I mean, look how convenient this is. And
That's your Zoom room? If that's your Zoom room, then I don't know what to think, but go on.
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like if you're an
I
attorney,
do. I do.
example, and you had to do a deposition, it's easier. If you're a judge and you don't want to go downtown and it gets starts to be convenient. And also, while we do think there's going to be a big slowdown in the judicial, area, and or no one's going to go to court this year. Everyone's going to keep doing what they're going to do. They're just going to do it at home. It's probably going to go faster. It's probably going to be quicker and more efficient. When you take the personalities out of things and you take the people factor, seating them, feeding them, walking them in, parking them, all of that out, things go a lot quicker. So we have to, the efficiency of it is something that needs to be duly noted. We're all dreaming if we think it's not going to stay. It's too convenient not to. It's simply too convenient not to. Oh,
I had
me.
what was that? Sorry.
One of my dogs just walked over here and is visiting me.
Okay. Well, I think that's as good a place as any. My dog's acting up too. But listen, from everybody at 1851 and Estate Envy, we really appreciate your time. I want to say Happy New Year's. Thanks for spending some time with us over the holidays. I know that for you, a big part of Undercover Billionaire was giving back to people and connecting with communities. And we really appreciate that and just want to thank you. Okay.
Thank you for having me on. I'd like to come back and talk to you more and more about real estate next year and more about franchising next year.
That would be a joy. We'd love to have it. But
All
for
right,
now,
and Happy New Year to all of you entrepreneurs out there slaying it.
great. Thanks so much. Elaine Culotti, Undercover Billionaire.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye.